thank you so much for the time today. It's nice to meet you.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's nice to be here.
I love everything you're doing.
Now that we're 3 seasons into it, you sort of, you learn sort of from your mistakes that you made in the first season, and then you made a couple more mistakes in the second season, and then you learn from that. No, just kidding. But it is definitely having sort of 2 seasons under your belt that definitely helped a lot coming into this 3rd season. And I'd say about 80-90% of the crew members came back. The writers are the same. The same actors came back. So everybody's in the pocket of this acting good pocket. So they're more aware of their characters. The writers are more aware of the environment. The actors just know what to do. Even our grips, our ADs, everybody's it's just a well-oiled machine now, and I think that's going to benefit us because we get to shoot more because we have more time.
Right.
So we get more coverage, we get more jokes in. So I think you're going to see a lot more efficiency in the show, which is really good because the jokes have always been there, and the jokes will always be there. So I think now it's just like it's just we get more shots. It's going to look a little nicer and just flow a little nicer. I feel like this year, and a lot of special guest appearances also. A lot of big names coming in the Indigenous community and non-Indigenous community as well. We have a legend playing my father in one of the episodes, which is a huge reveal. I can't wait for people to find out what that is.
That's so cool. So, I mean, the one thing that stands out to me is just the speed that you're moving at. Because, I mean, other shows have done it, but it's tough. It looks tough. I mean, how do you pull off that speed?
It's exhausting. Paul Rabliauskas and speed, those two have never really been in the same sentence together. Everything, I'm a slow-moving guy. But the show moves so fast, and before we can even enjoy sort of the fruits and labor of, like, the season 2, it's December, and we're already writing for season 3.
Right.
You know what I mean? We barely get to sleep. So I moved away from the reserve, Popple River, to come do season 1. I haven't been back in 3 years just because we've been doing the show pretty much consistently. I'm involved. I wear a lot of hats in the show. Obviously, I'm involved in pre-production with because I'm an executive producer.
Yeah.
I'm involved in the writing because I'm a writer. I'm involved in the acting, but even the editing too. Like I'm still helping with the edits in the end. So there's no sleep basically. We shot 2 days before I came to Toronto. We shot the day before we came yesterday.
Really?
We're leaving at midnight tonight, and I'm back on set tomorrow at 8 a.m. And we got about 7 days left of shooting, and I cannot wait for it to be finished because I'm so excited. This year, I think we have a lot to prove, and I think we proved it in the season.
Well, but I even mean the speed of your jokes, the delivery.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that.
So amazing.
I take so much pride in our. We say this in the writing room. Jokes over everything. We're a show. Obviously, there's great stories. There's a lot of native sort of elements to the show where we want sort of the audience to learn about our culture. But before everything else, it's always jokes over everything, man. And I'll say this. I'll put our show joke for joke against any comedy show out there right now. I think, there's about 5 or 6. Sometimes you don't see all the jokes. You have to go back and watch them just to pick up jokes. And we have some native jokes too that some people might not get. Right. And that's why I love working with Bell. They give us the green light. Sometimes you get notes back on scripts. And it's never, I don't understand this native joke. It's like, we don't understand this native joke, but we trust you. Yeah. And because of that, I think that's why I think a lot of our success has been able to happen, because there's this trust between the network and ourselves to tell this native story, and they allow us to do it the way we want to do it. That's cool. I think the audiences, they turned out for it.
Have there been things that you wanted to do in the first 2 seasons that you're finally getting to do now in 3? Yeah.
Yes. The big reveal. I can't say it, but there's a big reveal who plays my dad. Right. And this is so funny. I wrote the season 3 dad story in season 1. I went for a bathroom break, and then I came back and they completely changed the episode on me. Sometimes that happens in the writing room. Don't take long bathroom breaks.
That's so cool.
But I'm so happy because the story lives on now, and the world is more lived in now. So the story makes more sense because the audience is more aware of the environment and the stories of the characters that happened beforehand. So the story works out even better now in the 3rd season. So it's so funny. And the big reveal of my dad and that whole thing, you'll see when you watch it, but that was a season 1 idea that got pushed to season 3, and I'm happy it happened.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that I'm amazed by, and you just kind of touched on, is the lived-in nature of the show. Because so many comedy shows, you feel like you're starting out from scratch. I felt like the minute this show started and right through, it's built this mythology, this world that you're actually stepping into.
Yeah.
What do you attribute that to? How do you do that?
Do you know what? It was a show I loved called Erie, Indiana back in the day, where this kid lived in this world that kind of didn't seem real. And I think I said my own reserve, Grouse Lake, in the sort of the reserve in Acting Good, it's almost like, I like to say every character in our show is kind of a backwards person, a contrarian. In our culture, that's called the Windu-Dukan. That means they're kind of trickster and they just look at the world backwards. Right. So what's normal for people in Grouse Lake is weird for the outside people coming in. So it's so fun to bring in special guest characters and have outside people come and look at our world that we've built and being like, these people are strange. But then you have these weird characters kind of coming together because people are looking at them strange. So it's really fun to be able to create this fantasy world based in a real place. And it's all for the sake of comedy.
Well, on the flip side, what inspires you? What do you watch, or what do you love inspires you?
I grew up on sitcoms. I'm an old sitcom fan. I'm upset. Even now, I don't watch new shows. I watch Frasier. I've watched Frasier, King of Queens, Seinfeld, Family Ties, like you name it, and I've watched it 3 or 4 times. So I think my inspiration is all the tropes, and I love Acting Good because we're not a situational comedy. Right. 1 year, I'm sort of coming back and reuniting with my family. The second year, I'm with the elders. This year, I'm sort of with the youth. This year, and if we get a season 4, it's going to be more family oriented. So it's fun that we were able to pick and choose sort of what our tropes are going to be, and it could be anything, and a lot of them come from sitcoms. I'm basically running the gamut on all the sitcom tropes that I sort of loved growing up, and I get to write our characters into these funny situations. It's a dream, really.
That's cool. Well, I love the fact that I also feel like there's this American idea of a sitcom, and I feel like there's a Canadian idea of a sitcom that is frankly so much better.
Yeah.
What do you attribute to that this country and
it's a little, like I said, it's not laugh tracky. Like we don't have it's not the classic American sitcom where it's joke and then wait for the laugh, right? So it's a little bit more, like we said before, it's a little more lived in this style of comedy, but it's been done. Canadians have been doing this style for years. So I think Trailer Park Boys. They're so many.
All the originators sometimes too. But
and they've laid the tracks down, and we've kind of just fit that role perfectly. And I think that's a big reason why Canadians have sort of flocked to the show. It's because it feels familiar, but it's also new. And it's this world that's sort of, it's in the backyard. Like the reserves are just, you drive by them when you're going and you're like, I wonder what it's like there. And we give you sort of a different look into the reserve that a lot of people aren't giving you that look. It's just purely based on a family that just happens to be really funny.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, last thing I want to know is when when you're on the set and you're stepping into this character.
There's no step in it. I am the character.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So how do you differentiate between you and the character?
It's weird. It's hard to tell the difference between Paul Bitter and Acting Good and Paul Rabliauskas in real life, because it's me. When they're in the writing room, they're looking at me and like, what would you do in this situation? How would we react? So they're just like, the writers are just seething at me saying dumb things and doing stupid things. And the people on set, even our crew members, they're like, is this you in real life? Like, would you do this? And I'm wearing wardrobe clothes that I took from set. Like, I wear the same clothes that my character wears in real life, man. This character couldn't be more closer to me. And it's kind of scary because I do show, the mama boy aspect, and sometimes I'm a weasel and I'm not good with truth. Like, I can't face truth. I hide from it, and a lot of that is true. And I think that there's a lot of people like that in the world that sort of don't get represented. I think the mama's boys and the big guys like me sort of are not the lead actors on every show. So I think it's really cool that I'm representing sort of that character.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the questions.
I really appreciate it.